Some of you may wonder, well, who do we survey? Well, how many of you are in management? God bless you. How many of you are in management? How many of you are in sales? Raise your hand. How many of you are in a support position? Raise your hand. How many of you come from the insurance industry, whether it's property and casualty or whether it's health insurance? Raise your hand. How many of you are in the real estate business? Raise your hand. How many of you are in technical settings? Raise your hand. So you can see, I mean, we haven't hit the full spectrum. How many of you are in nursing and in healthcare? That was another big population because we surveyed people just like you. And so that's what makes this really interesting. And what were we surveying? Well, I don't know about you, but a question that's gone through my mind, with all that's been written about stress, whether it's in newspapers, magazines, books on the subject of stress, what we've all heard about the subject of stress, whether it's through television or radio, you know, what really works? Now, you could have gone to academics, medical doctors, the mental health profession. Instead, we decided to go to the workforce because this is the group that's going to be faced with a lot of stresses, and this is where these skills are intended. So that's how we got to the Northeast workers. We said, what are you using of all that's been written about and talked about? What are you using that actually works? Now, to set the stage on this, what we did is we asked the first question. I'm going to ask all of you this as well. What do you think causes the most stress for you? Anybody? If you look at your workday, what do you think causes the most stress for you? Yes? Workload. Workload. Okay, how many of you agree with that? Okay, a number of you. What else do you think would cause a lot of stress for you?
Hitting the ground and run when you don't have experience.
Okay, hitting the ground and running when you don't have experience, that's definitely stressful. Well, those of us who've been in those positions. Absolutely. What else? Yes?
Interruptions.
Interruptions. Okay, what else?
Coworkers.
Coworkers. Okay, anyone else?
Chaos.
Chaos. The work isn't stressful. It's all the people you have to work with that's very stressful. Wait till you see all this. Here's what we found. The number one producer of stress in the workplace today is too much to do and too little time to get it all done. Being criticized came in number 2. That was whether from coworkers or boss. Number 3 was not completing a task to your level of satisfaction. And as business owners and as managers, that's a big concern. All right, here's the other 4 that came up. Dealing with tight deadlines. There wasn't interruptions on that one, but many of us can think about that. There's your coworkers, the problems with coworkers, and it was specific, those who failed to deliver what they promised, and thinking about work while at home. How many of you find that's a stress producer for you? Well, great, because we're going to explore that and give you some real good tips for that based on the research findings. So this is what created the most stress. Then we try to say, okay, where are people effective and where are they ineffective? You'll find that people are very effective at having too much to do and too little time. Where they were least effective is on number 2, being on the receiving end of criticism. It was also interesting, they're not effective at coworkers who fail to deliver what they promise. They are not effective at dealing with thinking about work while at home and completing a task to their level of satisfaction. So this is what's helping to shape that November 4th program. How do you deal with these situations? But let's take a look at what do you think are the most effective skills in the workplace? Of all the skills that you have learned, what do you think are most effective that helps you do 2 things? Improves your performance and mitigates the negative effects of stress. Those were the 2 things we're looking for. Would you have?
I would think time management.
Time management, Julie? Give me something more specific.
Prioritizing responsibilities.
Okay, prioritizing responsibilities. What were you thinking?
I was thinking pretty much the same thing.
What were you, prioritizing or?
Well, prioritizing so you can get the most important things done first and knowing how to avoid the time wasters.
Okay, that's great. Anyway, I think we had someone, yes?
Communicating.
Communicating, okay? What else do you think was most effective? Of all the skills that you could use, balancing,
Work-life balance.
okay? All right, delegating. Here's what we found were the top 3 skills. Now.